All right, so let's look at this rewards contract. Here it is in Solidity. This will allow you to withdraw some gifts with this rewards contract up to a limited number of gifts. And here's the attacker contract, which will attack it with a malicious fallback function that will do up to 10 withdrawals when it should only be doing 1. So first we have to compile these contracts. That's the rewards contract. I go here and compile it. And now I go here and deploy them. First I have to deploy the normal rewards contract. And once it's deployed, I can copy the address from that one and deploy the attacker contract that needs the address of the contract it's attacking. So I deploy that one. Now I have rewards and attacker. So let's see how the rewards work normally. Here I am with my account that's 99.9 Ether. I have to put some money in to get it started. So I'm going to send in 20 Ether into the rewards contract with the deposit button. And now, if I look at get balance, there's 20 times 10 to the 18 way, 20 Ether in there. And now I'm going to allow some gifts, like 2. So I allow 2 gifts. And now if I check the value of the gifts variable, it's 2. So now my balance is 79.9. I started at 100 and gave away 20. Now if I withdraw a gift, my balance goes up to 80.9. And the balance in the contract goes down to 19, and the number of gifts goes down to 1. So if I withdraw again, my balance goes up again to 81.9, and the balance in the contract falls to 18, and the number of gifts falls to 0. So right now my balance is 81.9. If I try to withdraw a third time, my balance does not go up. And the balance in the contract that was 18 is still 18. And the number of gifts is still 0. So this is the contract working as intended. I only approved 2 gifts, and I was only able to withdraw 2 gifts before it stopped working. So let's do the attack. First we allow 2 more gifts. Now we go down to the attacker contract. My balance is 81.9. I attack. The transactions go through. My balance... All right. The balance has fallen to 8 Ether. So when I did that attack, the attacker did get the money down here in their contract. It only went here. And it didn't go right into their account up top, but it went into the attacker's contract here. So I drained 10 Ether out of the balance and made the gifts turn into a terrible number by integer underflow. And I stole 10 Ether. So that's how the attack works. That shows the danger of the reentrancy attack. All right. So there are a lot of these attacks that happen in smart contracts written in Solidity. The DAO had over 1,000 lines of Solidity code, and many, many dangers appear with this code. So there's better ways to do it. And here's an example of the new language called Glow. So we're going to make code to make this marketplace here. We have 2 people, Alice and Bob is a notary public. And Alice just wants to get a signature on something. So she makes a file and calculates a digest, and then sends that digest to the blockchain to interact with Bob, saying, will you please sign this digest? Bob signs the digest, but that's a private bit of information right now. Then Bob publishes the digest so Alice can see it. Then Alice verifies that this signature is correct, and then Bob can now withdraw the deposit, which was sitting in the contract, and then the end result is Alice gets a signed digest and Bob gets the fee for doing the signing. That's what we're trying to accomplish here. And this is the contract, 9 lines of code, not 1,000, not 300. It's very simple, very easy to write, very easy to audit. And let's go through this line by line. So it's written in the language GLOW. It defines an interaction between two people, a buyer and a seller. They're the only people that can participate, and by participating with this contract, they agree that they know what's going on, they understand what's happening. So on 3, here's what's happening. You pay for a signature with a digest coming in and at a certain price. So the buyer deposits money into the contract. Now, one important thing about GLOW is that every transaction happens with an expiration time. So every time you send money to anyone, there is a time along with it that says, I'm only going to wait for 30 blocks in the blockchain. And if this hasn't completed by then, it will automatically revert and the money will just come back to me. That is an important aspect of the security. So the buyer sends the money into the contract, not to Bob, at a certain price. Then the seller signs, calculating the signature, but the signature is not public information yet. Then the notary publishes the signature so everybody can see it, or so the seller can see it, and then the seller verifies the signature. After that happens, then the notary can withdraw the money. That's how it works. And this answers many security problems in a very simple way. Here's a failure case. Suppose the buyer never pays. Then they send a digest in, but they never complete step 4. They never feed in the money. So what happens is the whole thing will just time out and nothing will ever happen. The whole thing will just cancel and become invalid after a certain number of blocks. No harm, no foul. Suppose the buyer pays, but the seller never signs. Then at line 4, the buyer deposits the money. Line 5 never happens. The signature is never created. It's never published or verified. So the money that the buyer put in the contract will just revert back to the buyer after the time elapses. So again, that's fine. Here's another case. Suppose the seller sends an invalid signature. The buyer puts in the money. The seller calculates the signature and publishes it, but it's not valid, so step 7 never happens. It's never verified by the buyer, so again, it doesn't ever get to the point where the seller gets the money. Instead, time elapses, it expires, and the whole thing just cancels. So that's the point. It is a much superior language, and there are a few of these in development to make much more secure blockchains. And that's it. Thank you.